Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We are rocking and rolling again. Felicia, it's good to see you again. It's been a long time.
Hi. At least 4 hours.
Yeah, at least 4 hours. I don't know what's happening here. Let me just make sure. Let me see if I'm gonna go on Facebook Live on Facebook really quickly, just to make
Okay,
sure.
I can see us.
Okay, okay. I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Is that me or you?
Well, I'm typing right now, so it could be me.
Okay. But let me I'm gonna mute
There.
I'm gonna mute for a second. No, it's not the typing, it's just kind of air noise. Let me switch
Oh, okay.
microphones for a second. Is that it?
Alrighty.
Nope. Nope.
I don't know.
Think we're
Now I
good.
hear fuzzy.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go. And if people hear
Alrighty.
anything, you hear what I'm talking about?
You sound good. No, you sound
Okay.
okay to me.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's rock and roll then. Let's do this.
Let's rock
Let's
it.
make this
Awesome.
thing go. So, earlier, let's kind of, I guess, give introductions really quickly again for those that either are joining for the first time or missed the call earlier. Tell us a little bit about you, Felicia Slattery.
Okay. Well, I am a part two of four we're going to do. I am a professional speaker. I work with professional speakers. I help people put together their speeches, their books, launch their books, and build successful businesses. So that's one of the things that I do with my business. And short version is yesterday we were in Robert's group. I also have a group. My group is called I Love Speaking, LUV. Uh, and Robert's got a great group, and he was asking a question about topics, and we started chatting just publicly there, and then I said, "Oh, we should do a training because Robert, introduce yourself." Robert
Yeah.
Kennedy the third.
Arcade 3. That's me. I am a speaker like Felicia. I'm a professional speaker. What I do is a lot of keynotes and public speaking presentation training. I work with leaders who need to deliver critical messages with confidence. That's what I do. And so I coach people online as well who need to be able to tell their stories with confidence and figure out how they can influence, impact, and inspire even more people. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome, love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love it. Okay, so all right, so now we were on earlier today. What were we talking about earlier?
We were talking about two things. We talked about the tools that people need to utilize in order to go to conquer a virtual world, right? So that they can be
Yep.
prepared. And the second thing that we were talking about was the need to go virtual or the need to understand virtual, especially in a time where people are being required to telecommute, being required to be at home. Today, I just picked up my boys about 15 minutes ago, and today was their last day of school for the next few weeks because the state has mandated that they be home for the
Oh,
next couple
wow.
of weeks. So
Okay.
I've got clients who are canceling or postponing events. I've got universities who are some of my clients, and they've shut down. There's one university, Johns Hopkins University, do some work with, and they shut down from the 11th, which was on Wednesday, until April 12th. So a month, right? And so we are now, as speakers, people who are speakers, MCs, event hosts, trainers, we are being challenged to now enter a new world. And if you were prepared for it, if this is what you were doing already, yay. If you were not prepared for it, oh my gosh, how do you flip the switch right now
Yeah.
and still take care of your family and be ready to rock and roll?
Well, that's the question because it's like this is happening real time. I mean, I think I saw the President of the United States is going to be on now
Yeah.
declaring a national emergency. So, I mean, like we are living history right now.
Yeah.
But business has to happen, right? We still like life is still going on, and thanks to the power of the internet, we absolutely can succeed. So we talked about our tools earlier.
Yep.
Now we're going to talk about some topics. And Robert, you asked a great question yesterday. What are some topics that would be of interest and of value to organizations, to leaders, to individuals that we could bring to the table right now? And the reason why you would do it is, again, I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again. We're not here to capitalize on a tragedy or uncertainty or fear. But if you have a solution that can solve a problem, and in this case, a big problem,
right,
for an organization or individuals or whatever the case may be, then you owe it to them to say, hey, I have some ideas. We have something that we can do. And there's lots of ways that you can do it. You can do what Robert and I are doing and just go live and share information. If your people are more on LinkedIn than they are on Facebook, great, do that. Or you can call them up and say, hey, I've got, I can do some consulting around this, or I can do some training around this. Is this something that would be of interest or value to your people right this very minute? So that's what we're doing, why we're doing it. So what are some of you came up with some awesome topics. So what were some of the topics you came up with?
Well, so some of them were the obvious ones, right? And I think one of the things that I've learned from meeting planners as well is not so much the topic that you put out there, but how you frame it, or the title that you put on it. So one of the things, in light of COVID and in light of everything that's going on, one of the topics that I came up with was how to go virtual when everyone else is scared of going viral.
Oh, that's good. I love that.
Right? And so the reason behind that, again, is that there are a lot of companies, they do WebEx meetings, right? But they don't know how to make a WebEx or a virtual meeting or a webinar type of meeting interesting or engaging for people. And so I can't tell you how many employees I've heard say, oh my God, we got another WebEx. It was it was the worst ever, right? And so, as speakers, part of our job is to, number one, keep people's interest on stage. But when you are now tasked with getting into a virtual environment, can you transmit the energy? Can you do the same things? Can you keep their attention for an hour, 2 hours? How do you do that?
Yep. That's a great topic for those of us who teach communication skills and speaking skills. All right. So another one that I came up with would be like something leadership related on public relations and communicating with the public daily, and something that, like, what would be some regular steps that a leader would want to take so that they can stay in touch. And I don't mean a political leader. I mean a corporate leader, or even a small business leader, because we are living in such a fluid time right now, where things can be changing literally hourly. And so how do you effectively communicate that to your people without instilling additional fear and anxiety, and do it in a way that that provides the information that people need?
Right.
And so leaders of, for example, an easy one, if you work with schools, any leader of any school right now is dealing with a public relations issue. How do we get out to the world what we're doing, how we're doing it, how do we communicate that? So they might need help around that.
So I'm looking at some of the things that Pierre is putting in here. So one topic he said is information management for your staff as individuals. Organizations need to be concerned about how their employees are thinking, and at least help in some way to help them manage the flow of information coming at them, both good and bad. So that's critical, right? Because I can just go to my email. If I were to share my screen with you and show you my email now, I would have at least 25 emails that have COVID-19 in the subject line, right? So I'm getting them from clients. I'm getting them from former clients. I'm getting them from government entities. I'm getting them from organizations. I'm getting them from people who I subscribe to. I'm getting them from application providers, the companies that I subscribe to, like online tools, etc. Everybody's sending stuff. And so you can only imagine that you're getting like overwhelmed by all of this information. So imagine inside of an organization. So you're getting from HR, you're getting from the president of the company, you're getting from all these things, and you're getting from your kid's school, you're getting from all this stuff. How do you manage that flow of information? And then now you've got to deal with customers on top of that, right?
Yep. All right. So another topic, HR related topic. So if you are someone who works with human resources folks, a fantastic one is, how do you create a virtual workforce overnight?
Wow.
Because that's what's happening. is people. I mean, I don't. The president is on right now. You and I were scheduled first, so we decided to do it. But we don't know what's going to happen. Like when the president the other night said no flights from Europe.
Right.
What? Nobody. So we don't he could be saying right now as we're speaking, close down towns. I mean, we don't know, right? We don't know. So, but what could happen is a company's got to figure out, all right, how do we keep afloat? Because the reality is most people are well.
Right.
Most people are not sick. Most people have no problems, right now. They're healthy, or as normally healthy as they are on a regular basis, right? And so they're able to work, but we're saying, okay, just to stop the spread of this, we're canceling events, we're canceling gatherings of large groups, et cetera, and so forth. I know the governor of the state of New York was on doing a press conference, and he was saying that, if you have a venue, we want venues to keep capacity to less than 50% of whatever their full capacity is. So, less than 500 people in a place. Well, if you have a company that's got more than 500 people, what are you supposed to do?
Wow.
Well, maybe they've got to create this overnight workforce. Is that something that you have help with? So maybe you're a tech person and can say, listen, I can consult on the tech for this. Maybe you're a human capital person and you can say, listen, I know how to help you, get people to understand the processes and policies that go with this, because all of that's got to be written now.
Right.
So that was another one that we had come up with. All right. What was another one you found?
How to keep your team focused when everyone else is fearful. Mm-hmm. So there are some companies that bring in motivational speakers, or they bring in speakers just to inspire their team, or to help with team building topics. Mm-hmm. But now you're in a place where not only are people getting information, they're getting misinformation. Yep. Right. Yep. And so now some people they're freaking out a little bit. They're not sure what is right, what's wrong, and what they need to do about it. And so that plays out like when you go to the supermarket now. What do you see? You see no toilet paper on the shelves. You see you see no water on the shelves. Right, you see everything bare. It feels like Armageddon. It feels like you're in real time. This movie is playing out, right? And so all of that just heightens everyone's fears. Mm-hmm. And so how do you then say, okay, people, we still have to kind of move on, and we still have to kind of keep things going even in the midst of all of this? How do you maintain their focus on deadlines? How do you maintain their focus on projects even when they're being distracted by all this stuff? Yep.
So that speaks to productivity experts. Yep. That speaks to stress management experts. If you're a stress management expert person, now is a great time for you.
Right.
All of that's good. All right. So what about, for folks who are financial experts? Ooh. So financial topics right now will be big. So, how not to panic in a bear market. How to make the most of your company's 401k as the markets crash. Mm-hmm. Like that, those are, depending on who your market is, those are two different topics that would be great topics for people who are interested and help others with their finances. Right. Again, at the big corporate level, or even if you work with people kind of on an individual level, the how not to panic in a bear market, that really works right now. So, I've seen other financial experts talking about, depending on who their market is again, but talking to people like if you have a significant amount of cash that you're able to invest, to hold until, I've been seeing them talk about to hold it until the market gets lower and then buy a lot more, and et cetera and so forth. So people who are real estate people, what conversation can you be having if you're a real estate person? Because, I think interest rates are falling. So, what's happening there, and what does that mean for your industry? So what would be another one? What'd you come up with?
For financial, let me see. I'm seeing someone that just
it doesn't have to be financial. It could be anything.
Okay, so another one might be. So let's dive into where I am. Communication stuff. So how do you communicate in a crisis? One of our community members, Pierre Quinn, has as the title of his Word Travels Fast: Lessons on Communicating in Crisis.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Aurora Gregory said yesterday, she said, I like this one, business resiliency, keeping things moving when everything stops.
Wow.
I like that one. That was a good one.
Well, she had another one right there as we were talking about financial. She said, islands in the stream, maintaining cash flow through business diversification. So this is a good one for speakers as well. You're getting you're getting your events canceled and you're getting keynotes canceled and all of that. And this is maybe not helpful right at this moment, but this is also an opportunity to lesson. Listen, our eggs can't be all in the one basket.
Yep.
What can we do right now to begin diversifying our income streams? And so this is a time where, listen, if you didn't start building it, it may be time to start building some things right now and maybe polling people and finding out from them, hey, what are your real needs? And that's for corporations as well as maybe individuals online who might need your service.
Yep. My husband and I, we have a personal training studio. And so for fitness people, like my husband is a fitness person, some great topics would be keeping yourself healthy and fit so that your body is as strong as it can be right now. If you are a fitness professional and you help folks in the workplace, like with wellness programs, that you can talk about all kinds of things about keeping your people healthy, in the midst of a global pandemic.
Wow.
Wow. That's another really great topic that they could be thinking about. All right, what are some of the, what are our sanitizing protocols? What are our, what are we offering to employees and staff and other, students if we're talking to schools? Like, what are we offering them? What are we doing for them? Are we giving them tips? Are we offering more hand sanitizer if they could find it?
Yep.
What is it? Like, in our case, we sent an email and we said, we're spraying down equipment in between people, with Lysol because it's a small studio. So, we talked about how, listen, you're in luck if you work for a smaller place because we have 15 people at the most walking through the door in a given day, right? So as opposed, so think about that as an option. Or if you're going to stay home, here's how you can, stay healthy and be at home. Do some body weight exercises and things like that. So, you just. Again, depending on who you talk to, who your market is, you can be talking to corporate people, you can be talking to schools, you can be talking to individuals, whoever it is that you serve. Just think about how is this impacting your world and the people that you serve, and what help can you provide to them?
Yeah. So I want to throw this out there. There's some people, you're hearing us talk about your expertise and what you speak about and being able to switch or being able to be flexible to what an organization might need because you're a speaker, but maybe you're not a speaker just yet, or maybe you are aspiring to be a speaker. You're in Felicia's group or you're in my group and you see us online and you're saying, well, geez, I think I kind of want to do that, right? And you may downplay some things that you may downplay your expertise. And I hate to say it this way, but I don't have any other words about it, right? There are some organizations who are in desperation mode right now. And that might be a really good time for you to contact them to say, hey, I know this information. How can I support you? Or how can I serve you? You might not consider yourself a big time speaker yet. You might not consider yourself someone who has great marketing expertise. You may not know how to find stages. You may not know how to connect and contact all of the people in order to get on conference stages or platforms. However, you might be able to get into a conference room. You might be able to get on virtual to say, hey, listen, can I talk to your team at lunchtime? Can I talk to your group? I've got a Zoom account. I'd be glad to do it for free, or I'd be glad to share this information for 30 minutes and make that connection and start that conversation so that when all of this is over, you're on their radar. You're somebody who did a good job for them, and you're somebody who served them in a way that maybe they didn't expect at that time.
Absolutely, because they will remember you. People remember you when you help them out.
Right.
And what's interesting is I'm reminded of this frequently, that when I do something for somebody, I kind of forget about it because it's like I did it in the moment and I was happy to do it and that's fine, whatever. So I don't like keep tabs of the stuff that I did for people, but the people that I've done things for, they'll come back to me years later and say, "Do you remember that time when you did blah, blah, blah for me?" And I'm like,
no, actually, I don't.
glad I did. I mean, I'm glad it was good for you, but that works. Again, we're not saying we're doing this as a way to leverage anything or we're taking advantage of anything, but there's people who need help right now.
Right.
And if you can provide that help, well, then something of good will likely come out of it. And the good thing that could come out of it would be maybe you get a consulting gig later.
Yep.
Maybe you get a speaking gig later. Maybe you get a virtual gig now or later, or maybe you get a really nice referral or a testimonial. All of those things can be excellent for your business because you absolutely need testimonials. And many of us get booked through referral. That's how that's how people hear about us.
Yeah.
And so, they're going to remember you when you do something nice, when you do something good, something helpful, provide some value that maybe won't cost you anything, but just a little bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think right now, if I were to encapsulate a lot of what we're saying right now really is your opportunity to serve. Right now, instead of it thinking about it as an, oh my gosh, time or a time where we're looking at being quarantined or, just thinking about it in a negative space, how can you reframe that? How can you turn that around and say, what can I do right now? How can I serve someone else? How can I serve not just maybe an individual, but is there an opportunity for me to serve an organization or a greater community that with something that I know? Because I guarantee you there's something that that is useful right now, that there's somebody, some organization, some group, they don't really know it, or they know it, but they don't have the resources to internally deal with it or take care of it. So you're their Messiah right now, right? You're their person.
Superheroes cape on.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Yeah. You're there, and so you cannot be scared at this point. If there's any time to be bold, if there's any time to be brave and courageous, it's now. It's now, because I guarantee you, if you do it, you're going to make a difference for someone, and maybe big someone's, important someone's who you never know, maybe years later will come back and be a blessing for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, again, we just think about your topic. I mean, this conversation was about some topics and so forth. The point is, think about what you do and how does that fit into what's happening in the world today?
Yeah.
And exactly like you said, find a way to serve people, and it may not be speaking, it may not be consulting. Maybe it's you make a video.
Yeah.
Maybe you write an article. Maybe you just write a social media post on LinkedIn. I did that yesterday. I wrote a post and I just hashtagged it with a few hashtags for people that I know the information would be helpful for. Yeah. And I've had people like, wow, thanks for this. This is really helpful. I'm actually doing something like this tomorrow, and this made a difference for me.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's what we're looking for, right? Is we want to make a difference for folks. All right. Pierre asked a question.
Okay.
Pierre wanted to know about how you could see the previous recording that we did, previous call that we did.
Oh.
It was just a video.
Okay.
So you can go back in wherever you are right now. If you're on RK3's personal page, if you're on his business page, if you're in his group, then check it out there. If you're on my personal page, my business page, or my group, you can see it there. So wherever you are,
yeah,
we've shared it far and wide. We also shared it over on LinkedIn as well, on his and my LinkedIn profile. So wherever you want to be, that's where that video is, and this video will also be in those places. And we've got two other ones that we'll be talking about coming up in the near future.
Yep, absolutely. So. I do have it on YouTube as well. So maybe at the end, I'll post the YouTube link in the bottom or one of the comments in case people are interested in that. All right, Johnny Parker says, find a way to serve. Loving this. Yep, Othniel Stevens, so true. And Pierre, of course, is posting some topics.
I love it.
How to survive the divide, maintaining mental and emotional health. Ooh, in a time of social distancing. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder. I mean, I posted a question on my Facebook this morning. I was like, are we ever going to get back to hugging and kissing and handshaking, or is this social distancing thing permanent? And I asked that kind of tongue in cheek, but I also asked it because I started to think about some conversations that I have with my family and my daughter and friends who are saying, hey, this whole texting thing is really causing a division or increasing the communication gap or the personality. Whereas when we solved conflicts before, we would approach people personally, but now we don't even know how to communicate anymore because we're texting or we're emailing and we're losing some of that stuff. So that's the frame that my mind was thinking along. But now that I'm saying that might be also a communication topic for organizations, getting back to, I don't know, getting back to human communication or human connection.
Right. How to create connection again after, after breaking it or after, being forced to be away.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was not the sexiest sounding title, but
yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right, my friends. Well, we promised we wanted to keep these relatively short, just kind of little pop-up things. We haven't figured out when we're going to do the next two topics, but we'll figure it out amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be over the weekend. I don't know if it'll be Monday, but we'll figure it out. And I'm just kind of keep an eye in your groups here, and we will let you know when we share the next couple of topics. Do you have them handy? I don't remember what we even said we were going to talk about.
Let me look at my list here really quickly. Maybe you can stall for a second.
Okay, I'm stalling. So, actually, do you have any questions? So, Johnny, I love that you had those couple of points. But if you have questions about anything that we are talking about today, or you have suggestions about something that you're doing or something you saw that came out, you can put that in the comments. Did you find something?
Yes, I did. So we talked about turning your keynote virtual. How to take a talk that you're doing now and then turn that into a virtual talk. And then the other one we were talking about was how to engage your audience virtually. What are some things that you can do to make sure that they maintain connection with you? Are there things that you do physically? Are there things that you do in the room with the technology? Are there things that you can do prior to, after? What do you do to maintain engagement with your audience instead of just having a meeting where they're just kind of looking at you the entire time? And maybe they're not looking at you, they just have you on screen, but they're really paying attention to something else over here. Yep.
So those are the other two topics we'll be talking about.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, well, thanks for being here.
Awesome.
RK3, thanks for having me again. This was fun.
Yes, it was.
All righty, I'll see you soon.